This project you're going to need an aluminum baking sheet to the size you want, some silicone-based liquid nails. That is what's going to help adhere your mosaics to metal. Your mosaics, which could be ceramic tile, glass tiles. Also, I've been collecting some beads every time I go to Joann's, whatever's on closeout. And make sure that these are not wood, because that's porous. Try to go with ceramic or glass. Here's some extra beads here. Also some string beads for detailing and or for letter writing. A Sharpie to help translate your design to the metal. Some tile nippers to get certain sizes going. Some steel wool. We're going to scratch up our metal. Other large sheets of glass which we can cut, and also I go to the thrift store often to get plates that I can break up. I thought this would be a nice design for the border. And also I have a lot of other cast broken plates that I've saved, and I kind of keep them in bags according to color to help with design. And I'm going to be using a lot of blue for this project. And I also have some other plates waiting. And for the breaking of the plates, you're also going to need an old towel and a hammer and some goggles, safety goggles. All right, let's get started. First things first, you need a design. I kind of sketched it out. You should too. And also, depending on the materials you have on hand, have an idea of where you're going to use what. For instance, I know that I'm going to take some of the border from one of my plates I'm going to break, and I'm going to put that around here. I know I've got little fish beads that I'm going to put over here. This is going to be kind of an homage to fish. So we're going to have a lot of watercolors, like blues and greens, and then we're going to bring in our fish in around the numbers. So the next step is to get your surface prepared, which is our metal baking sheet. You can just get an old beat up one from Goodwill. I got this over at Walmart as one of the cheapies. And we have to scratch up the surface so that it's porous enough to hold the silicone. So first things first, like I said, we have to prep the surface. So we're going to take some steel wool and scratch it up. Okay, a little bit more prep to do before we really get into this, and that is breaking of things, which, if you've had a really bad day, this could be a lot of fun. Get a really old mattress cover or an old blanket that you're probably going to throw away, because this really does a lot of damage. Because breaking of ceramic does end up cutting, actually, some fabric. So this is an old mattress cover, and as you can see, I'm placing the plate on the mattress cover and then folding it over like this. Now, if you do it this way, you really don't need safety goggles, although you probably should anyway, regardless. I left mine at home, so we're going to just fly by the seat of our pants here. So, hammer and there you go. Now, it's okay if you've got bigger pieces, because then you've got your tile nippers to help shape some of the bigger pieces into the pieces that you need, smaller pieces, different shapes. So you just need some rough, and already I'm seeing some of the ceramic break through the mattress cover, because this stuff's really sharp. So also be very careful. If you're worried, wear gloves. And at some point, take a look at what you got, and if you need more, hammering. So this is where I'm at so far. I think I'm going to do a little bit more. But what I'm really hoping for and what I'm working towards are these edges right here to create a border. So I separated out my border pieces just so the mosaics go faster. And then I have all the rest here. And I'm going to take a big Ziploc bag and carefully put all this stuff in there. And I'm going to do the same treatment, the hammering treatment, to that piece as well. Now we're all set to start mosaicing. I transferred the core design onto the metal baking sheet, got my liquid nails going, and now we're going to start to put a little glue in areas and start putting down mosaics. So with this project, because I have a baking sheet that's turned upside down, I don't really have much of a lip for the grout to kind of stop going off the edge. So what I did was I used some duct tape and I lightly duct taped a lip around the sides so that when I grout, it'll have a place to kind of stop and I'll have an edge that I can work against. Okay, let's get grouting. Hey there, so here's our mosaic. It's cured overnight, and like I said, I put a little bit of duct tape on the edges so that I can get a clean edge here. And I have a work surface with a little bit of plastic on the bottom here. And what we're gonna do is take our sanded grout. This has got a polymer mixed in here so that this grout is actually water resistant. And I have about a handful, I'm guesstimating here. This part I kind of do by eye. Got my grout and I've got a little bit of water. And you need gloves. Do this whole process. You start mixing in the water with the grout. And I like using just a stick. And you want like runny mashed potatoes. So start with a little bit. I'll show you what this is looking like as soon as I get it a little closer. But I start with a little bit and just keep adding. So you can see here this is runny mashed potatoes. And I've mixed it for a few minutes, like 2 to 3 minutes. Then you're going to let it sit. It's going to thicken up a touch. I'm going to let it sit for maybe about 3 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes. And I'm using white, but you can get any other color you want, depending on your design. Let me show you the consistency here. It's slightly thicker than where it was. You can see kind of the trail of your mixing stick. You don't want it too thick, otherwise it's going to get hard to get in all the little tiny grooves for mosaics, but you don't want it too runny either. So this is pretty good. We're going to use this little trowel. You can also use a palette knife, a plastic knife, and at times I even just use my fingers, and we're just going to got all the grout on there. And because it's so uneven, it was really hard for me to use the trowel to get a lot of this excess off. So I'm going to wait about 10-15 minutes, and then I'm going to take a white sponge to this and get a lot of this extra off. In the meantime, I might just use my rubber gloves to see if I can't get some of this off. before it soft sets. So that worked out nicely. I used my gloves and just started scooping all excess, so you can start to see some of the tiles come through, so you have just a thin layer of grout. So that's what you want. So if you're finding that there's just such an uneven surface, for you to use the trowel to kind of get some of that excess off, use your hand, or even a sponge at this point. But you know, honestly, you're not supposed to sponge wet until this is soft set. So let's wait for about like 15 minutes, and then we'll start doing the wet sponge technique. Okay, so now at about 15 minutes, we have a nice wet sponge. So I've done this now about 10 times. It's looking pretty good. So I'm going to let this sit for, I don't know, probably about an hour, because what I want to do is get rid of the duct tape and put a thin layer of grout just along the edge of my baking pan, just to kind of seal the edge a little bit. And then we're going to let this cure overnight. Okay, it's been about 45 minutes, so what I'm doing is I put a slit in the tape, and I'm just gently taking it off. And with my glove, I'm just putting a very thin layer around the edge to butt up against the mosaic. I'm going to do that all the way around. And I'm also going to fix that bead that came out by grouting that in. And then, after this, we let it sit overnight. Midway through curing, if you feel like things are pretty well set, sometimes it's good to actually get some of the grout off before it's completely cured. So just get a little grout brush and just brush away, at least with the big pieces in your mosaic can handle the brushing. And then just ever so lightly with some of your more delicate work, then you can go over it again tomorrow. But it's nice because the grout is still a little bit soft, and you can get a lot of this off easily. If you feel like things are well set, it's very hot today, so I think it's definitely affecting the grout to cure a little quicker. You can see like your beautiful work just really start to come through. Isn't that pretty? After brushing it all out, next take a damp washcloth and buff out the tiles until they shine. Make sure to get as much stuff off, any glue, because once you seal it, you seal it. So take your time with this. Okay, so this has been buffed. All excess grout off. So now it's time for sealant. And there's a few different kinds of sealants out there. You're looking for a tile and grout sealant. This supposedly claims it's up to 20 years, of course. That probably means indoors. So, you know, you'll have to keep an eye on your piece once it's outside. And see if maybe you need to clean it off in a few years and reseal it. So this you can apply with a brush or a damp cloth or a paint roller. So you're going to make sure that this is really nice and saturated. Let it soak in. for about 5 minutes. And then you're going to rub off any excess with a damp cloth. It takes about 24 to 48 hours to cure. And if you want, at that point, you can do a second coat. All right, so we've given the sealant about 5 minutes. So just ever so slightly and delicately brush any excess off. And that's it. We're gonna let this sit for 24 hours and then we're gonna wrap it up and give it to my friend. And there it is. Doesn't it look great? Thanks for watching, and hope you have the confidence to dive into some mosaics yourself. Bye-bye.